Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Crispy Chicken and Veggie Teriyaki. But today we're gonna explore this really cool technique that gets you a super crispy chicken skin on your chicken thighs. Now we're also gonna pair that with some sauteed veggies, teriyaki sauce, bring it all together over a rice bowl. But it's this technique that I'm super excited about that calls for starting your chicken skin side down on cold cast iron and then slowly bringing up the temperature. So the first thing we're gonna do is fire up the grill. And today we're cooking on the Kamado Joe Kettle Joe. And we're gonna be using a fairly small charcoal fire, but with large pieces of lump charcoal. So we're gonna use my good buddy, Chef Eric Gephardt's technique here for starting a small charcoal fire, where we take a couple of fire starters, and we can go a little bit more center. And we're basically gonna build our little charcoal house around them. So these large pieces allow for lots of airflow. And that airflow is absolutely key when it comes to running a fire in a kettle, in any grill really. So we're just gonna kind of stack our pieces around the fire starter, let it burn from the inside out. Now for our chicken, we're gonna start with bone-in chicken thighs, skin on, that's really important. We are gonna get rid of the bones, but it's pretty hard to find your chicken thighs without bones, with skin, so we're gonna take these apart ourselves. So I'm just gonna cut right around the bone and kind of work the knife underneath. We'll remove that bone from the thigh, along with that knuckle. We don't want any of that hard stuff in there. And the reason we're doing this is because we want as much surface area as possible for our chicken thigh. If you're able to, you can even butterfly this out just a little bit in those thicker areas. Lay it down to cover some of that excess skin. But you do want your skin to match the amount of meat you've got, so I wouldn't just let this extra flap hang out here. We can trim that off. But now you've got all this surface area that you can crisp up on the cast iron. So again, just kind of coming around the side of the bone here and slide the knife underneath. The goal is to lose as little flesh as possible while you're doing this. A little bit of that hard knuckle there we can take off. And then if you got the room, a little bit of butterfly. Those fingers out of the way. And then trim the excess. That skin's gonna shrink up a little bit, so you can leave a little overlap because it is gonna pull back. That's what we're looking for. So the next thing we're gonna do is salt the skin of the chicken. We're using the Jacobsen black garlic infused sea salt. We're essentially gonna do a quick dry brine here. Start pulling out some of that moisture, which will help again with the crispiness. The less moisture we have in the skin, the more crispy we can get that skin rendered in the end. So we'll just let this sit while we go check on the charcoal. So we've got a good start on our charcoal here. Lid's been open this entire 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this down at this point. I feel like we've got a decent start. I'm gonna also take it to one side because I know that we're gonna only be cooking our direct on one side. I'm gonna just throw a couple more pieces in here, and then we're gonna close this up. We'll make sure the airflow is all the way open at the top and the bottom. But the chicken's had about half an hour to sit now. We've drawn out some moisture. Not all of it's gone back in yet, but that's fine. We just wanna make sure that we get the surface of this skin dried out before it hits the cast iron. And some of that salt's gonna stick behind. It's gonna season the skin. And then we're gonna transfer these over here to take them to the grill, and we'll hit the back side with a little steak seasoning for a nice savory element, flavor-wise, to what we're building. So we're gonna get plenty of sweetness out of our teriyaki sauce here in a bit. Nice to have a nice savory rub to go on the flesh of the chicken here. Let's head over to the grill. The temperature's sitting at about 500 degrees. We're gonna place our cold cast iron over the hot coals, and the chicken's gonna go on immediately. So this is slowly going to come up in temperature, start to render out the fat and crisp the skin up. We just want to get this closed up. We're going to do a little rotation here and make sure that we're browning everything evenly. But overall, we've got a good start going. Already some nice crisping of that skin, nice browning. We're gonna take it even further though. All right, feeling pretty good about this skin. Nice and crispy, completely seared and browned. We wanna give these just a little bit of time on the flesh side to cook through. It's been about 15, 18 minutes so far. We'll just give it a couple minutes on the opposite side and then pull these off to rest while we cook the veggies. We're hitting about 175 internal on the thicker parts of the thighs, and that's where we want to be. Honestly, you can go a little bit further. Thighs are pretty forgiving, but this is going to be a nice velvety texture for these. We're going to just set these aside on some foil while we cook the veggies. Now, it'd definitely be easier to do this next part entirely in a skillet, but there's so much good fond on this griddle that I don't want to lose it all. So we're going to start cooking our onions on the griddle and finish everything else in a skillet. We'll hit these with just a little bit more of that black garlic salt to help draw out some of that moisture and close up the lid for now. All right, you see all this flavor that we've picked up from the griddle, all those little bits? That's gonna add a ton. We've got all of that chicken fat in there. What I'm gonna do now is take this griddle out of here, and we're just gonna finish this thing almost caveman style right here on these coals, but actually in the skillet. I'm gonna throw down a little bit of our chili infused oil. We've got some shiitake mushrooms. We'll give those a head start, and then we'll add in our peas and onions. We're gonna slice these thighs while the veggies finish up. Listen to that crisp. That's amazing. It's like they're fried, but just cooked in their own fat. With this right here, this is where it's at. That crunch is incredible. Forget about everything else we're doing today. That technique will work on any recipe when you're doing these chicken thighs. Shiitakes are looking good. We're gonna come in now with some sweet peas. Throw in our onions that are almost there. Let that cook down for another, 60 seconds or so. Then we can add in our chicken and our teriyaki sauce. Finishing up now, get our chicken in there. We got our bone-sucking wing sauce, the teriyaki and ginger. You're just gonna add as much or as little of that as you like. I just want enough to coat. We'll let it reduce down just a little bit. And that's ready to serve. So I'm gonna finish this off with a squeeze of fresh lime juice. Smells incredible. That teriyaki aroma coming off of there. And plate this up on top of some jasmine rice. A little green onion on top, and call it good. Great flavors, even better textures. Got the fresh snap from the peas, almost fried-like consistency from the chicken. And you've got those earthy mushrooms that are just kind of falling down around you. A lot of great flavors, a lot of great textures, and a really cool technique that can be transferred to all different kinds of flavor profiles. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.